Once upon a time in the sleepy village of Winchcombe, nestled among the rolling hills and lush meadows, there lived a girl named Emma Cartwright. Emma was a curious, inquisitive child with a mop of red curls that cascaded down her back like a fiery waterfall. Freckles dotted her cheeks like constellations, her bright green eyes filled with wonder as they took in the world around her. She was well liked by her peers, but was often lost in her thoughts during the most mundane tasks, her daydreams carrying her away to far-off lands and thrilling adventures. Emma lived in a charming, ivy-covered cottage with her mother, a kind-hearted woman who loved her fiercely. They were a close-knit pair, their laughter often filling the air as they shared stories and secrets. As Emma grew older, she began to feel a strange warmth coursing through her veins, like the sun itself nestled within her. It was an inexplicable sensation that seemed to grow stronger with each passing day, leaving her both exhilarated and terrified. One cold winter's day, as Emma was hurrying home from school, her breath hanging in the air like a fog, she stumbled upon a group of children building a snowman in a quiet corner of the village square. The children's cheeks were red from the biting wind, their noses dripping as they shivered in their heavy coats. As Emma watched, an inexplicable urge swelled within her. She stretched out her hands, focusing on the cold, white snow before her. To her astonishment, the snow began to melt. Steam hissed through the air as tiny rivulets of water formed at her feet, soaking into the cobblestones beneath. The warmth within her intensified, her heart pounding in her chest as she looked at her hands, her green eyes wide with wonder. She understood, in that moment, that she possessed a power unlike anything she had ever known. At first, Emma was thrilled by her newfound abilities. She spent her days exploring the limits of her powers, lighting candles with a flick of her wrist and warming the water in her bath without so much as touching it. She could make the flames dance and sway to her whims, and even summon fire with a mere thought. However, she soon realized that her gift came with a heavy responsibility. One fateful night, while Emma lay in her bed, her mind racing with the possibilities of her powers, she was overcome with a sudden bout of restlessness. The air felt thick and heavy, as though a storm was brewing within her very soul. She couldn't resist the urge to reach out and touch the darkness, and as she did, a spark leaped from her fingertips. It ignited the curtains, and in an instant, the room was ablaze with wild, untamed flames. Emma's heart leaped into her throat as she fought to control the fire. The flames licked at her skin, but she was unharmed, the heat only fueling her determination. With every ounce of her strength, she managed to put out the fire, but not before her secret was discovered by her mother, who stood at the doorway, her face pale with shock. Emma's mother hugged her tightly, her eyes brimming with tears. "My dear girl," she whispered, "you must learn to control your powers. The world is not ready for a child who can wield fire. We must keep this secret hidden, for your safety and for the safety of others." She stroked Emma's fiery hair, her voice filled with love and worry. From that day forward, Emma resolved to master her powers. She practiced in secret, the small attic of their cottage transformed into a training ground for her extraordinary abilities. She honed her control over the flames, learning to ignite and extinguish fires with a single thought, and to manipulate the heat within the tiniest spark. But even as she grew stronger, she became increasingly isolated, the burden of her secret weighing heavily upon her. The once carefree and spirited girl now walked with a shadow in her heart, her laughter often tinged with a hint of sadness. Emma found solace in books, devouring tales of magic and adventure. She would spend hours nestled in the nook of her favorite oak tree, the leaves rustling above her as she turned the pages, her imagination soaring to distant lands. She often imagined herself as a heroine in one of these stories, a fearless witch who used her powers for good, defending the weak and vanquishing evil. It was in these dreams that Emma discovered her purpose, to use her gift to help others, even if it meant keeping her true identity hidden. The years passed, and Emma grew into a confident, capable young woman. She walked through life with a quiet determination, her secret locked away within her heart. The villagers knew her as a kind, compassionate girl who was always willing to lend a hand, but they had no idea of the fire that burned within her. One day, a terrible fire tore through Winchcombe, threatening to destroy everything in its path. The blaze roared like a wild beast, its insatiable hunger consuming house after house as the villagers panicked, their faces streaked with soot and tears. As the inferno raged, Emma knew that this was her chance to make a difference. She raced into the heart of the inferno, her courage fueled by the knowledge that she alone could stop the devastation. The heat was intense, the smoke choking her lungs, but Emma remained steadfast. Her green eyes blazed with determination as she fought the flames with all her might, her control over the fire never faltering. Emma's powers seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment, her connection to the fire transcending the limits of her control. She could feel the raw, untamed energy of the flames, their desperate desire to consume and destroy. But she harnessed that power, bending it to her will as she saved countless lives and prevented the fire from spreading any further. When the last embers finally flickered and died, Emma stood among the ashes, her body trembling with exhaustion. The villagers stared at her in awe, their eyes wide with disbelief and gratitude. Emma knew that she could no longer hide her secret, but she refused to live in fear. She embraced her destiny, vowing to use her gift to protect the people she loved. In the years that followed, Emma became a guardian of Winchcombe, her presence a comforting beacon in times of darkness. The villagers revered her as a protector, their hearts swelling with pride as they spoke of the girl who had tamed the fire. Emma knew that her journey was far from over, but she walked her path with a fierce determination, her heart ablaze with purpose and love. As the years passed, Emma's story became a legend, a tale whispered around crackling hearths and woven into the fabric of Winchcombe's history. And although the world would never truly understand the depth of her sacrifice, Emma's spirit lived on in the hearts of those she had saved, a testament to the power of love, courage, and the fire that burned within her soul.